Welcome back to another session of Tech Talk with my good buddy, Adam Oldfield from FPM3 Marketing. Adam, how are you today?
I'm doing really well.
This is all about tech. This is all about now the new age of technology. We got used to using our thumbs. We got used to typing it on the screen.
Yes.
Now we're going to be talking to this stuff?
Well, you know, it was the natural evolution. I mean, like, we first swam, then we all got legs and learned to walk on land, then we all learned to breathe. I mean, eventually we all had to communicate with voice, right? So it's, as opposed to grunting at each other, we managed to speak. And computers have got to that point where we're at the very beginning stage, though, of technology and voice recognition. As an example to that, I mean, we've had it for the desktop for years. It's had some life expectancy for some time. What the main difference is that it's improved dramatically. At this given moment right now, you've got the ability on the computer to be able to dictate an entire letter, a resume, controlling every single move and moment of what you're doing inside the computer. And it's pretty accurate. I'd have to say it's about 95% accurate. Then you've got now the iPad. It comes out and it's got about 30 seconds to 40 seconds of also dictating capability. Then you got the new iPhone 4S, which...
Oh, where did you get that?
Well, I got this from AML. AML. If you want to be a tech head, you can also now be a part of the AML team. I understand they're looking for a few good tech heads.
Yes, they are.
If you're a female male looking for an opportunity, you can play with all the toys if you know all the gadgets, and you can go to amlcares.com and you can find out more information about working for their group in the Kitchener-Cambridge area.
Wonderful.
But I got this one specifically from AML. Communications, right down the road off of, right over here off, I want to say Bishop Street? No,
Pine Bush?
Pine Bush, off Pine Bush Street. So I got the Siri and I got a chance to kind of get a sense. What makes the iPhone very unique, and they've really stepped ahead of the game, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is that Apple really has set up with Siri when they purchased the software to allow everyone, when they give it a voice command, it goes to a central server, it's calculating these requests, these statements, and it's categorizing them, organizing this data. You're giving it permission to do so, and then it's sending the information back to the phone to do an action. So as an example, you can say, schedule my appointment on Thursday next week with Greg DeRocher. It automatically goes to your calendar, puts it in, and calculates it. It's still a little rough. So it's not perfect. It's all of a sudden I'm meeting Sally at Wantu Fobon Taiwanese restaurant.
And Greg's sitting all alone in the restaurant waiting for Adam. Yes,
I'm wondering when's he showing up. So if I have to say, you know what, Apple's got the best. In another year from now, when we talk about voice recognition, this is going to be one of those, like, why did we ever need a keyboard? It's going to become very powerful as far as I'm concerned. Then we went and took a look at the Android, which we have many options, and you can take a look and say, okay, well, there's various operating systems. There's Honeycomb, which is 3.0. There's Ice Cream Sandwich.
Another one courtesy of AML.
AML, yes, that's right, yes. I got to play a little bit and try a few things. This one doesn't have the power of the iPhone when it comes to scheduling appointments. So as an example, it will allow you to dictate your text messages, your emails. It allows you to search on Google, you know, but it doesn't let you schedule appointments the way that Siri does. Siri gives you the full capability of, as I mentioned, controlling your day-to-day actions. Remind me when I get to the office to call Greg. It will use the GPS system to remind you when you arrive. The Google Android system, still, it's got the capability of the voice recognition just to type, but it's still a little bit of an effort. You got to hit the microphone, you got to then say your piece, and it's still not 100% accurate. And then we've got over here, of course, the Blackberry, which comes with the free software. This is the bold, but all the software or all the operating systems in the new 6.0 and up, you can download still the Vlingo. Remember that little Whoopsie Daisies by Blackberry? One of their features they gave was the ability to download free software, and one of them was Vlingo, which is a voice recognition software. Took me a lot to get used to it, but it gets better. And the thing is, it
learns, my understanding.
They all do. All of them are learning because they're going to a central server to be able to calculate it. I believe Android systems are calculated locally. So if Apple and Blackberry do not have internet or don't have access, it will not activate the voice recognition.
Oh, okay.
Google, however, will still work. So it's running locally in their little system, which makes me think it's pretty accurate, pretty powerful for a little system on this phone. So it does need the internet to make voice recognition work. So, and that's free from Blackberry through their little app unit. And then we've got the software, which I've got my iPad here.
Yeah.
And this is really neat. You know, I started using this quite a bit when I'm on the road or I want to quickly, send a voice message because I find that, I'm not using the phone on the road, but it sure is quick when I'm having a coffee or I just need to say something really quick. So the way it works is free software from Dragon Dictation from the Apple Store, and you click the tap and dictate. Hi, Greg. This is great. I really appreciate working with you on Tech Talk. I tap the screen, and let's just see what we get. Every time, it's always a wonder. What's the magical sentence going to say, boys and girls? Let's see. So we'll let that process for a quick second. And then I'm going to put that over here. Sure. And then I've got over on this one, I'm sure
we have all the toys. We're going to have to get a bigger table here for Tech Talk, I think.
So what I've done is I've used Microsoft Word, and I've got really big keys, but turn it on. Hello, Greg, comma, new line. We got giraffe.
There you go.
I wanted to share with you an unbelievable new product. Period. New paragraph. This is probably the most amazing thing you could imagine. Period. We have lots to talk about in future Tech Talk shows, and I can't wait to share them with our audience. Period. Thank you again. Period. There we go. I had to shut it off. So you can see it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And, pretty powerful too. I mean, if I had to type that out, and I don't know how fast, I'm pretty fast. I can type about 80 words a minute. So I'm pretty quick. But this still outmatches my typing ability. Now, maybe if you're typing 200 words a minute, we might have a tough competition. The thing with voice recognition is you got to get used to a few key components. Let's go back to this one. Did this work? This one didn't even work. Again, let me try it one more time. Let's try it one more. Hi, Greg. Just trying our new Tech Talk voice recognition feature. All right, I'll put that over here. The desktop works a heck of a lot more powerful, but it's also, as I said, got a lot more time on it. And the thing is, to get used with voice recognition is being able to say things you really take for granted. Periods, comma, new line, new paragraph, exclamation point, question mark. But it does give you the capability of being able to also send emails. So you can control your computer through the software too. So when I finish typing or verbalizing my email or whatever, it actually has the ability to I can highlight it, I can play it back so I can hear. So sometimes I'll dictate a letter, then I'll say read back, and it reads it to me while I'm doing something else as if someone's reading.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta advise you, it's very important when you're using dictating software is that you always make sure it needs internet. So I'm not able to make my this one work specifically. But the one thing you always got to remember is proofread. Because one of the things these voice recognition systems, it's still a computer, and one of the things that I think a lot of people get sort of confused or they miss out or they don't realize is that the computer knows exactly what it's told. On the desktop, it can usually distinguish between there, and they are. So there's there, and then there's there, and then there's they are, which is there. So it can try to find the sentence in the software to be able to determine which is the right one. But let's just say you wanted to send an email to Sean. And Sean is spelled S-H, S-E-A-N. So what you need to do on this system is that you need to say correct, and it will give you variables of that word.
Okay.
However, on all of these systems here, they all come with preloaded words, and you've got to try to associate and find ways of correcting them. So it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and it's tough because the English language is very challenging.
But what kind of priority are they putting on this? Is this a high priority item?
This is, in my opinion, it is. And my reasons for that is that Apple came out when they launched the iPhone 4S. Specifically, they really plugged the new Siri point. Yes. And I think that's very important that they actually made a point to introduce this. there wasn't a lot of new features because everyone was expecting the iPhone 5.
Yes.
And what they got was this with this new voice activation software. And there was a little bit of resistance of, well, that's not that big of a deal. What's so big about it? It is big because Siri was a pretty powerful software when Apple purchased it, and they're really putting a lot of emphasis into it.
Yeah.
It's gathering all the voice recognition elements around the world on every iPhone. When you dictate, it improves the software. And that's the point that I think is important. In the next year or two, it's just like a child right now, in my opinion. This software is very, very much in its infancy. So as we use it, as we start to develop with it, same with Vlingo, as it starts to understand you better, it recognizes your voice, it gets certain words. Sometimes we mumble certain words, or we slur, we don't even realize it. Everything's dinging now. We slur, we end up using, and sometimes, as I speak to you, you can somehow manipulate or interpret, he means to say this. So the computer hasn't figured that out yet. As it gets better and is used more by more people, it will become more and more powerful.
I think what's going to be very important is the old saying, you spoke before you thought.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to have to start thinking before you speak. And that's what the beauty of email was, where you could express yourself. And I know some people push the send button way too soon. But you could, if you took your time and looked at it and made your changes and, downplayed your anger or whatever it happened to be in there, you could really regulate how that was going to be received. I'm not so sure with voice recognition software, people using it, it's going to be a habit, you're going to pick it up. Obviously it's going to be able to tell when your voice is stronger than others.
Well, and the other side is, again, I was using it here. It takes a lot of getting used to. And, it took me, I would have to say, a good solid 4 days. And I am the biggest propeller head tech geek you'll probably meet. And it challenged me for a while. Now, I pretty much got a handle on it, and I'm not even an expert. I'm probably maybe 10 or 15% into how does this work and operate. If I really, really put my emphasis into it, I probably could make it better and make it more efficient, but this isn't for my generation. This is going to be for the future. This is going to be down the road because I, as you, have been used to taking typing, or we're used to using the mouse. And, the new voice recognition system lets you control the mouse everywhere it goes. So, the new systems also allow for a glove. It's a little finger piece that actually allows you to now point and click.
Okay.
So you don't need to have a mouse anymore. You can actually just wear the little finger. It works by Bluetooth. And as you speak, you just need a finger to make it go. Now, in this case, it allows you still to control the actions of making it work. I would just have to say, press the key enter, and it would make the action of the keyboard work.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Certainly it's going to relieve the stress in the shoulders from hovering over a keyboard all day. And, with everybody's got Blackberry thumbs, I think, and, carpal tunnel and all of those things.
Well, and think about the accessibility laws that are coming out, too.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is what's really interesting about it is you spoke briefly about the fact that it's a lot faster to say it than it is to type it, for most people.
Yes.
It's going to bring that parity of abilities, individuals to be able to perform as fast as another individual, even if their typing skills aren't there.
Yeah, and the key thing about this is that most of this software that I'm referring to is free. So this comes on your phone, like the speech recognition for Siri, it comes with the purchase of the phone. The Android and the Blackberry, you just have to download it. It's a third-party software. As a side note to our Blackberry friends, it's worth the investment. Buy it. It's worth putting an investment. It's a future.
I use Vlingo quite a bit, actually, especially when I'm searching for something and driving in the car. It's a very convenient tool from my perspective. I think it's the future.
I believe that this will be the foundation for where we go. So
I'm getting used to it. I like it. Thanks to AML for offering us up the little toys for us to show everyone today. That's great.
They are available at AML Communications, all their stores.
Yes, and they're of course the Rogers authorized dealer in Ontario and the East Coast for that matter. And they are looking for people in the KW area. So if you're a techie and you like to play with these tools, go to amlcares.com. and look for the links to make contact with them and express your interest in working for AML because they're a great company, and we certainly, they're very gracious with us and offering us all these toys.
That's right. Thank you.
I think it's great. Thanks very much for tuning in to this week's Tech Talk with Adam Oldfield from FBM3. We'll see you next time. See you, Adam.
Thanks, Greg.